他们可以在我浮沉和nsolve. You handed me the curse of all time, a problem to solve. 31 holes instead of 32 does that kind of crime. Odd number circles, yeah, it's gonna take some time. Educate, null and final. This gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length recorded from dawn till dusk, but your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. Morning till evening.
So I hit up my buddy STLR, and I'm like, yo, we got this tool called nsolve coming out. I need something painful to offer users. What are you doing? And he replied, well, I'm busy working on the next AAA title. It's like, dang. So yeah, thanks to your tools, I'm now working in this game industry. So I'm actually kind of busy right now. I was like, damn dog. Well, in that case, don't waste your time on me. Go back to work, do your job. But he did send me an asset. As a result, in the third level, we have this asset sent to us by STLR. Just a quick little gun. I wanted something that was particularly painful, because obviously if we had an easy time, that's not going to be very fun as content. So I'm just looking at this and just thinking about how I want to solve it. You know, we could go in and do it the Blender way, which is like my first thought. But of course, we got to pop open my boy nflow, but we want to get out of tour mode because I don't need a tour. I made it, or I didn't make it, I requested it. So we'll make a new preset and we'll uncheck that button, so that way when we add a new behavior, and I don't mean made it as in I coded it, I mean I made it as in I requested a million things to get it to be the form that it is now. So we'll activate nflow, and this is what we're getting for inset so far. So what we'll do is adjust inset's behavior to be a little bit more flexible. So we want to actually change this to after, so that way, actually wrong option, sorry, got a little rusty. We want to change this to add, and now we can actually make this an additive operation where we're able to perform it like so. And then from here we want to do a little bit of collapse, so let us add collapse to it, and we'll go with collapse vertex and we'll place that on vertices. And you know, I'm always having to say, this isn't how I intend you to use the tool. This is just my style of using the tool, because, you know, I like to go in and pretend like I'm re-entering Shadow Moses like Solid Snake, and I'm having to procure my weapons on site. And that's what I think of when I'm building my configuration. I'm like, all right. So let's bring in the next one. And you can solve any topo with knife. As long as you got knife, you are good to go. If we didn't have knife, this tool wouldn't even exist. If we didn't have any way to bring up knife, even in a bad way, this tool would not exist. It just wouldn't. Let's activate cut through, and I just want to make sure that cut through is possibly enabled. Is that a thing? Let's try that. And that did not work. Use occluded geometry equals false. Alright, let's try it again. Let's start it, and we will press C for cut through. And let's take a look at the argument that we got for that. So I'm going to go over to the, I guess scripting is no longer a thing anymore. Alright, and let's try that one more time. In fact, I don't even like changing my window. Let's try that again, but this time let's not put ourselves where we don't need to be. And I mean, splitting the window is just not even necessary. I mean, it's so much easier. I mean, it's not worth it to change workspace. I was talking with a friend about it. He's like, yeah, I change my workspace all the time. I hate changing my workspace. I'm like, change your workspace? The heck? That ain't how I use. And also, we're not even in the right layout. We're in the modeling layout. So we were about to use a different instance of nflow. And let's try that one more time. You know, we're just getting the party started. Use occluded geometry equals true. And let's undo those last two. And we're just going to paste that in. Alright, you selected true. I'm just double checking. This is a little unusual. Alright, so I really do need that to work. You know, full disclosure, I need that to work. That's what I'm sitting here thinking. Sometimes a bug is something I can just say, oh, it's cool, it's just excusable. And sometimes I'm like, no, this needs to work. Like, full stop. This has to work. And what I'm looking at here has to work. In fact, why is knife unable to be started in a cut-through state? You know what? We'll just move past it for now because I'm sure that the answer is not an answer I will even like. So we'll bring in dissolve and we'll dissolve edges, and I'm just going to map that to Alt and Edge. So that way we can just get rid of edges as we need them because this circle is way too dense. And we want to have connect happen between verts, so that way everything's a lot simpler. But first we have to exit nflow just for a moment, just because we want to do a little bit of selection. Maybe we'll grab the ones that are not connected to an anchor loop, and we're just trying to reduce this real fast. I know there's more animated ways that we could be doing this in Blender. Let's connect these two, and we'll try that again. And even this, I don't even like this. I don't like having to click and do the selection. Let's select loop, edge loop. And so we want this goal to select. Let's make a new config just for this. We're just getting experimental this morning, which is the purpose of these meshes. The meshes are to experiment because you need to experiment and get the most out of things. Oh, see, if you have everything in the world enabled, it will just look very strange. So now we see that single click, no longer holding shift, no longer holding alt, good. And we also want that to be additive. So now one click, one click, one click, and we just keep going. But we could also do it even faster. We could select, check or deselect, and get it right like our true Blender professional. But the way that you would do that, can you recall it out of your mind fluidly? How that is done. Also, we're just double checking our cylinder because there's something curious about it, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Let's select this and take a look at what we have. You know, let's see if STLR really gave us the business, because that would be quite funny. The goal is to make solving these a lot faster over time. Let's jump out and bring up statistics. For some reason I couldn't see statistics in edit mode. I don't know what's going on there. And we have 31. 31. Ooh, STLR'd us. He's like, hey, have users figured that out. So how do we do that? Let's try using a little bit of let's use loop tool circle. First, I will place my 3D cursor between these 2 points. And from here, let's right click. We will set ourselves to be circle. We'll set ourselves to be spaced. Loop tools, space, loop tools, circle. I'm not the biggest loop tools professional, but that is how I use it over and over until I'm sure it's right. So we want to snap selection to cursor, but we actually want to snap it to snap selection to cursor. Okay, and we have the offset in there, so we do the same thing here. We will just right click and do a space and a circle. And for this area, I think it would be better for us to just simply reconstruct it. So we already know that we have the mirror serendipity going for us, so we have the ability to mirror it. if we are blessed by the mirror gods. Let's set our origin to this, and then we Alt X. And I'm just rusty this morning. I know I'm showcasing the tool in a way that, you know, I wouldn't buy the tool for me because I'm such a klutzy idiot, but I'm really just getting my bearings. And once I get my bearings, it's game over. Like, it's you know how it is, guys. My goal isn't ever to be on here bragging about skills or bragging about modeling or anything, because I mean, in the end, we're all modeling. We're like polygon slaves. But all right, let's get back in here, and we'll select 1 loop, 2 loop, 3, and we're just going to keep going. We could probably even map shift to deselect, but null clicking or clicking on nothing, as we see, does do deselect because that's a part of Blender. So we just got to be accurate with our clicking. And with these, we can now reduce the circle. That's all I wanted to do, was just reduce the circle. It's just a lot to solve. I was just looking at it, I was like, wow, 32 rounds of I hate you. I mean, I'm being facetious, of course, but you know, you give a man 32 rounds of circle to solve, hey, that's no friend. That's a mother-in-law. Just kidding. But what we'll do is add another one, and we'll call this one slide verts, because vert sliding is just great. We want to slide verts on shift. But before we slide, we want to enable vert emergy, because, you know, it's happy hour. Vert emergy's at 5. You can come get them here. And of course, we'll do a little bit of merging. Let's alt scroll to jump to the next configuration, but I don't have the ability to roll through configurations enabled right now. Sometimes alt scrolling can get in the way, so we want to have it focal so users will be able to turn it off if needed, because if alt scroll is problematic, you definitely want to get it not being problematic very fast. We'll exit out just to do that selection, and then we'll go back in, because I don't want to be rearranging these loops just to get my selection back. And this one is another 32 round huckleberry. Oh my god, 31. I'm gonna be making fun of them about this next time. I'll be like, what made you choose 31 instead of 32? And you'd be like, you know what, the alt scroll and box cutter made me lower the segments by 1 when I was using it. That's what I'm actually thinking in my head. I'm like, oh wait, we probably did this. You know, it's crazy to have tool guilt, to feel guilty whenever you cause an issue. So we're at 31. We'll get rid of 1. We'll right click. We'll go with space, and let's do the same thing here. Right click, space, and so far so good. And we'll just grab that and extrude it in and hope that that solves it. But 31 rounds of circle, very curious, very much probably my fault. You know, the guilt that I feel, I don't even know if I'm ever wrong with it. Sometimes it truly is my fault. So from here, we want to probably make knife start on right click, just because I kind of like it. I just kind of like having it on right mouse click. I know it's a little weird, but it's just nice to be able to hover over a vert, right click, and just be a knife, and then just get out. It just feels good. Feels good to me. I also love dissolving. Dissolving is just amazing. So let's bring in edge loop, and we want to use the loop cut of the Retopo toolkit. And what this means is that if we hold control over an edge, we can basically examine our loop cut. So very fast, I can just place a cut, and then we want to bring in connect or join, you know, from nsolve. I want to use specifically this version. So let us grab it by using it. That is what we need. And now that is what I have. And we are back over to nflow. That was kind of weird, but we're back up in the club. And you see that now I really have a system of forcing verts there with my edge loop. We're able to measure and analyze what we're doing by kind of riding the rails. We're able to just quickly add loops as we need it, examine what we're creating, see where our success ends and our problems begin. And right here, I'll press Alt D to exit. I could be creating a selection based setup, but some things I like to rehearse before demonstrating them on video. Like, I don't want to demonstrate certain logic issues that I run into immediately, at least before having a discussion about how to solve them, mitigate them, resolve them, or present them in a way that doesn't make us look like idiots. But it is definitely something that I'm mindful of. Alright, we'll get rid of that one. And the cool thing about edge loop is once you bring it in, you can press E and F in order to make it even, and also flip it to be which edge is even with. So now we have this very lovely redirect happening. Same here as well, except we don't want to have it redirect all the way around the shape. In fact, something like that will do, and that will certainly hold it together, except I don't know about that break there. So here we want to just use knife instead of edge loop, and maybe something like that will do for now. And we are making very little progress, but we are making progress nonetheless. I don't know, I had to throw in a remark about it being little progress, but we are making progress. Something like that. And from here, we will just bring this in. Like so. And what we'll do here is grab loop, 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 and loop, and jump back inside. And there's faster ways to jump in and out. I just like that one the most. I mean, we could also press D and click this little icon to jump right out and in. And that's kind of unusual for me. I'm just not used to exiting an active tool and making it inert while being in the tool. But I do find it as an interesting option. I mean, I was the one who requested it, and here I am explaining to you why I'm not using it. And here we are just moving along, and we probably also want to right click to analyze, right? Like we want to analyze like Final Fantasy and see what stats our monster has. So right mouse click, and from here I think that's it. No, it's not. Right mouse click, nothing. There you have to specify what it's going to be activated by, and even I make that mistake all the time, over and over. I almost want to get rid of it, like so. That's what I'm sliding it slow about. I'm just thinking, is that the way that I want this to be resolved? Maybe something like that. I mean, if we really wanted to quad it and redirect it at the same time, we can do something like that. And then of course the markings don't really matter. The markings are just temporary. But let's take a look at what we have. I'm being assured that basically Sandy Pants is done with Analyze. So Analyze should be showing without sandiness. I am very needing Analyze to work out. And so I get very angry whenever it doesn't work out. Like if you get a sandy display on your mesh, just know that I am carrying my cross across town, and at the end of the day I'm going to be hanging up with the rest of the traitors to the Roman Empire after being beaten and crucified. I don't know if they were traitors. I just thought that all the people they were crucifying might have not been people that the Roman Emperor wanted around, hence them being crucified. But continuing along, past the topics of the very demise of our Lord and Savior of Christ. And do we want to get rid of that one? In fact, what choice did you make here? Ooh, 9. You chose to do 9. Dang. Alright, so we are going to need to do some real work here. In fact, this model is a special level of tricky that excites me. I mean, I'm complaining, and saying I'm gonna make fun of him, but really what I'm saying is STLR's done a great thing with this model. Like, I asked him truly, I was like, I need a model that isn't good, which is strange, you know, because this guy only does awesome stuff. 9, we are at 9. If we got rid of those, that is the reduction we need. So let's reanalyze this. I'm going to slide this here, this here. We'll grab these two, or actually these two. And I feel like I've reduced it way too much up top compared to down below. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So really we need this one about here. 1, 2, 3, middle. Wait, 1, 2, 3 and the middle. Okay, no, I'm being inaccurate in my goals. 1, 2, 3, middle. But how do we keep the shape though? That is the question. In fact, the goal of his was to create a kind of rounded circle, right? So let's just put a circle there. You know, what are we doing here? We'll place a Bezier circle. We'll arrange it to view. Oh, that's not it. Bezier circle. And we'll align it to view through the F9 and have it scale to fit. And from here, maybe something like so. So all we have to do is just reduce one of these, and then from there compensate for what we're losing here. I know this is getting weird. All right, so continuing back, we're just looking at these loops that we're connecting because, like, wow, we are making so many things work out here. Like, for example, that we don't need that. If we want to go in and make that more trivial, we can just click, 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 and click, and then Control X. And same thing on this side. Speaking of cats, I'm actually listening to a song where they're singing about my cats, and that just reminds me that they must be fed, and so I must go and carry out their dark designs, which is feeding them and then cleaning their litter box. You know, in their litter box, these cats will leave me some of the darkest designs you've ever seen planned out by a person or an entity. In fact, sometimes while we're cleaning the box, they'll go in and use the box, and then if we take a break while cleaning the box and we leave the room, they will also use the box to, like, basically make a point to us that they do recognize that we are their fecal janitors, and that, you know, we are slaves to them. I'm telling you, my cats bring all the birds to the yard, and then they don't chase them. Like, my cats are a couple of little cowards too. You know, as in, if a neighbor comes outside, they are done. They are done with outside. They are completely over it. The moment a neighbor shows up, like the moment I see a neighbor, I'm like, hello neighbor, goodbye cats. You know, might as well take these boys inside. But we're just doing a small cleanup of just what loops we have here. And I probably can start color coding so that way I know what's going on. The only reason I'm not doing any of that is, you know, I'm still waking up. My brain's still waking up. And also, I've been in a kind of test state with nsolve, because nsolve is the name of the tool. So that means that nsolve needs to work good. Let's also add in another one. Let's call this line. And I look forward to the day when users start giving me back configurations, when they start showing me, like, hey, this is how I work. Can we make this a configuration? Or, hey, this configuration beats your time, so therefore this configuration should be the default. But this tool is all about the defaults. And, you know, right now I'm not completely 100% pleased with the defaults, but one day this tool will be in a state where its only updates will be to the defaults, because the rest of the system will just be, it will just be. Let's make sure that we are cutting all the way through visually by pressing Alt. Probably just want to enable cut through on this. You know, what am I pressing Alt for? We don't have to. We could just, maybe not like that. Blender won't take that autistic version of true. And also I have alt mapped to the thing that starts it, so more than likely it will not allow me to work that way. Just because alt is also triggering it. It's not the biggest deal, it's just, it's important to be aware of these things. And we want to place a loop here. We'll exit out just so we can grab these two loops and make sure they are connected. Jump right back in just so we can look at what we're getting here. All right. How do we want to handle this part? I guess we could put a loop here, and we'll put a loop there. And you know, you're probably saying, why aren't you just putting enough loops to take it all? I don't know. Maybe 2 loops will do for taking it all. You know, and also that area is called a flatty, and flatties are just second-rate citizens to me. Not literal flatties. Flatty meshes, not flatties. I'm a flatty, by the way. I was supposed to actually get out and go exercise, and after some very deep soul searching, I decided I would rather solve this screwed up asset than go kill my body running and being tired. That means more than ever I must go make that choice. I must go do that, because let's get rid of that connection and we'll try that again. And we could just give everything a proper connection, and that will just solve it the easiest. So now let us look at this area. I would say that we need to jump to preset 2 just so we can select a few things. I feel like we can probably rope selection into just a general config so I don't have to jump over for it. But I'm thinking over the course of this that we can make a more robust selection system just as we're messing with it, just goofing off. And we'll bring the mouse so that way we can just alt scroll back between our configs. All right. And we'll just add a loop cut there so we can connect it there. I was going to switch over to edge, but we actually do not need that. And we're just making quads. Kind of brain dead here, auto quadding. Me, it's easy for my brain to just turn off, especially if it's not actively engaged, which is why I talk so much in tutorials. Because like I'm also capable of just zombifying very hard. And disassociating, you know, disassociation comes, these aren't skills, these are problems, guys. I probably disassociate more than most people, or at least more than I'm supposed to. You know, you start giving me enough bug reports, I'll start disassociating. I mean, not for long, because I do see that the bugs must be resolved. There is no universe where I let them sit. At least, hopefully not this Blender 616 universe. I'm not letting bugs sit. Let's take a look at what we're doing here. Let's see, will we be able to make this work out? I know that's not really the best solution. I was really just looking at that. I was watching myself make the solution, thinking, is that going to work? You know, sometimes I'm watching myself look at these solutions, thinking, wow, that guy just tried that. That guy literally just tried that. Did he just try that? No, he totally did. And for this, what we'll do is make sure a loop is placed here. And from here, we are just merging to get rid of all tries, but really it's, what are we doing? We will just bring this in and complete the connection like so, and we're just working our way across this model. And of course there's a myriad of ways we could have just kind of given ourselves starter geometry, which I plan to also explore as well. But before that, I want to discuss just raw solution based working, because this is kind of the, I mean, not this way, but the raw way of just using Blender and a million hotkeys and knife and join and everything. Of course, we do want to explore that and also propose better and faster ways of accomplishing that. I'm actually a little hungry. Might have to eat, but eating is a request from the fatty inside. You know, inside of us there's a fatty, and he wants I was about to say a biscuit. I was about to say a cupcake, but I don't even know if cupcakes are appropriate anymore. I could have sworn we had edge slide, and it looks like we did not have edge slide. We just had vertex slide. So let us duplicate this, but to do that we'll need to exit, and then from there we can just copy this, and we'll just go with slide, edge slide, and we'll map that to edge and not vert, basically resolving the red, giving us something like that we can work with. I am pressing E and F to ensure that everything is correct, and we'll inset this because I haven't used inset for a while, right? We made a configuration that started with inset, and then we just stopped talking about it, guys. You know what? Inset who? And something like that will certainly do for now. 1, 2, 3. All right, and we'll just get these joined as well. Making connections. I was about to say meaningless connections, but some of these connections are, you know. Let's press D and let's take a look at join, which is this one. And if we look at our operator arguments, we have true, true, false, false, false. So we want true, false, 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 like so. And that way we are only snapping 2 verts. I just noticed the second one is edge, and then the third one is probably edge 2. And I'm pretty sure the next one is also edge, and then after that it starts getting into the face options, but who knows, I could be wrong. And something like that will certainly do. We are making leeway with getting this across the surface, except we're just 30 minutes just working our way down the surface, doing circle corrections and just ensuring that everything is geometrically right. And we'll definitely have to compare this with what it would be like hacking our way through this, because one of the testers basically enlightened me to how he would hack his way through every exercise to succeed. And that isn't in a bad way, like you're a failure or you failed because you cheated. It's more like, huh, I didn't think of the idea of cheating, of just not playing by the rules. Like I look at these meshes, I'm like, oh man, per the rules, I have to correct this mesh. Terrible rules. And we're just making connections and running across our surface. We'll give this a loop. Actually, before we do that, let's look at what we're dealing with here, and it looks like it's too late, so we have to solve it. And it also goes without saying that I do plan on having additional models added to this over time by other artists who I consider to be heroes and legends, at least to me. And you know, I've just been writing people about various models, being like, hey, that you're being asked to join the Avengers of bad geometry, of nightmare geometry. And that is a very hard message to receive. We're just looking at options here, just imagining other ways we could have done this. In fact, if we really want to solve it just right, we could go with something like this. And at least now we have to try redirect it to a quadrant that is less important, or we can make it a giant try like you saw me do there. But we are just moving along. And for these two, we do want to give them perimeter protection. So this is where in preset 2, we probably do want to, you know, expand on it. So I'm going to just pull offset. Offset's good. There's offset. And we'll just paste that in there. Maybe not the part about the amount of offset. We don't need that part. I mean, unless we were really trying to reuse it. But we just want to map that to control an edge. And now wait a second. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I was thinking there. And we also want to make sure that we have this set to basically be add. And now we are getting somewhere. And then we roll back down. And we want to actually use some color overrides now. So for this setup, we'll go with that P you get when you drink too many rock stars. And then for the other one, we'll get a different type of P. You know, we'll get that toxic P. So now we will have a visual idea of what our configuration is. Alright, and we'll bring this one there, just so we have nice things happening when it comes to analyze. Let's try that one more time. You know, and do we need two edges? Do we truly need two edges? I'm asking for a friend. Let's jump over to config 2. We'll jump between config 2, where we can select this, press Ctrl X, Alt scroll to jump back down. And now we are back in business. Something like this will certainly do the best, or at least for this particular area for now. You know, I always like to get an area ready and then kind of just quarantine it into little micro universes like you see me doing now. Let's see. And so far as quad management goes, we're doing good. The goal isn't perfect topology, except my goal is definitely to improve my topology a little bit more every time. You know, one day I'll be bragging about how I'm the quad king, the king of quads. I'm all quad MX. Just kidding. But I do want to, you know, raise the ante more and more. And just seeing the loop before the loop is just so visually it shocks me to see. Like, I'm not used to it because I'm so used to Blender's edge loop. I've used it for so long. So for this, we will select this face. I'm pressing 3. Oh, okay. And we will just go back to preset 1. We'll hold control. Something like that. And let's bring these two together. And for this one, what we'll do is inset this. And we'll connect these two. And every video tells me changes I need to have done. Not in a bad way, just in a changes have to be done way. You know, life is changes. And for a product to be great, it needs to evolve. And so, even this one in its earliest stage, you know, our main plans for updating it are set to basically happen like 3 months from now. Like, the goal isn't to finish the tool and then immediately begin working on it, because that will result in eternal work, and the team actually needs more breaks than normal. And we'll do it again on this other side. Something like so. Right click. And in fact, for this, we'll press I, but we'll press B in order to inset it, protecting the area that's internal. And then we'll bring a loop over, join, dissolve, dissolve. Just a little kiss on the cheek, just letting it know, like, hey, good luck with your big dissolve, with your big inset today. We'll bring that together, dissolve and dissolve. Alright, and now from here, we are just solving and moving along. Alright, alright, alright. Probably my favorite thing to say in videos. Next to a... Not even that big of a Fonz fan. Actually, maybe a little bit. You know, the Fonz was actually cool, you know. I take that back. I was going to say, not that big of a Fonz fan, but no, I watched a lot of Happy Days. Give you an indication of how I am too old. Also, I was supposed to feed the cats when I mentioned it, and once again, my mental reprioritizing has resulted in my cats being hungry, making me look like a monster. Let's right click to see what we're looking at. And how do we want to handle this? Do we want to handle it like so? Or do we want to handle it like so? Something like that. And then we will just go across and continue working it. You know, this shape is a definite Boolean shape where, you know, you model it and you don't even think about what it would be like to solve it. I mean, if you did, you wouldn't have 31 round cylinders in your mesh, but that is funny. I'm going to start doing that for other meshes I give to people. Be like, yeah, I use 31 cylinders because I got a, I'm Gail Dornick from Foundation. I only count in prime numbers. Let's bring this up. All right. And how do we want to handle this part? And how do we want to handle this? Well, I will place a loop there, there, and there. And we'll just bring our loop down. You know, I think auto smooth is causing like a performance struggle. I don't know what I was experiencing there. Like, one of the suggestions I sent forth was to have a toggle for the hollow display of nflow, but I was being notified that basically there is no disabling the hollow system. The hollow system is nflow. if I am to disable the holographic system, it would be I would need to basically invent a system to replace it, because it is the core of nflow. And that was just an interesting thought. I was like, I don't even know what I would replace it with. But I'm sure as support issues come in from people with either potato computers or using tools that are just incompatible for whatever random reason, whoever knows, that it'll probably come up as a thing requiring a solution. But for now, I don't know, guys. I mean, as in, I don't know what I would replace it with, because it can't be replaced. It's like a crucial part of it. So we have this single try, and I'm just thinking about how important it would be to get rid of it. But really, it's more important that this loop continues where it is and holds the shape together. And we'll go ahead and just make an inset of that. Do we want to get rid of all of those? Just kidding. That would be kind of crazy. Instead, we'll have to do that just to clear that out. If we're in the business of clearing these things, we'll bring a loop down this way, perform a connection. I feel like orange makes it laggier. I mean, I know I'm being weird, because that's impossible. Let's jump over to nsuite, where I can just do that, and then we jump back where I'm able to just right click and use knife if I'm needing to. One, two, three. And we'll consider that a success and move along. So we are definitely making progress on this handle. In fact, let me go ahead and save the file. But we never want to overwrite the original file, ever. Alright, that would be bad, because then you can't go back and mess with it. You have to reinstall the add-on. So let me take a brief moment. Alright, I left to go check on the cats. Turned out my woman fed the cats. But now, I must feed my woman. Food. Must feed her food. Alright. She ain't got time for that nonsense, alright. Girl only has time for big quad modelers. That means if someone else comes around with bigger quads than me, they could take her from me. Just kidding, but let us continue. We'll join this here, dissolve that. Sorry, I'm slowing down just thinking about how I want to handle this. You know, that's the only thing that stops me in these videos. I slow down from thought. And then I get slowed down from the analysis of thought. I'm like, wow, I'm thinking. Why am I thinking? And then I start analyzing that. And then after that, I'm lost. I'm completely screwed at that point. Something like that will certainly do better for this area than what we were about to try to go for. In fact, this is a lot of loops to be dealing with, but you know what, we'll just put one down the middle and we'll just solve everything to that, basically resulting in that. So you kind of see that I use a lot of this redirect in place sort of solution for geometry reduction, and that's just how I think. You know, like I said, I always look at topology as Tetris, so there are some straight lines you can drop on some blocks if you gotta, and that's what you see me doing when I do like these kind of localized redirective sections. It's just me just solving it using the old trusty. You know, everybody in topology should have like the old trusties of topological solving. You know, I see all these people you know, carrying around those screenshots of topology solutions, and I think I did a tutorial on that once where I was like, I said the same things as I said in there. I just got hit by parallel thoughts of the equivalent nature. Also, what are we doing here? We could do so much better. We could be more effective than what we're doing. We're just being pedantic because this area is getting a little dense. So we're just moving along, and basically the takeaway of this gun. You know, when you ask a person for a gun, for a weapon, or when you ask a person for a weapon, when you ask a person for a model, and you tell them that you know, you want something very bad, they'll give you something very bad. You want them all to cry about? They'll give you something to cry about. This model ain't got no polygons. Just kidding. But that would make you cry. You receive a mesh and the mesh just has no polygons. You'd be like, oh no. A tear might even roll from the eye. But I've like had just as many client screw ups as I have with like work with you guys. Like, you know, I'm sure customers have noticed that every now and then I accidentally place the wrong product in the wrong package on the marketplace site. And, you know, these aren't necessarily my complete incompetence. Sometimes it's the incompetence of these websites. These websites are nuts. Like, sometimes I'll go to sleep because of a bug, and then I'll wake up and forget that it was because of a bug. Like, especially Blender Market. Blender Market, despite being my favorite site, has such bugs that I don't even want to report them because I'll just look like a monster. Like, I was about to send them an email the other day about this bug that basically reset the sales page. If you undo, or if you use CSS, it will basically remove your ability to even see the code of the web page or go back to it. And like, your CSS is capable of reformatting the actual site itself instead of just a sales page. So, and these things can make it hard for us to get back in and modify the product itself without reloading or reverting it to a previous. Here I am talking about other bugs. But yes, my life in its entirety is basically bugs and removing them, like, which is crazy. It's not the worst job, but it definitely isn't my favorite job. You know, bugs are my favorite job. Is actually this part, the part where I get to do content and have fun and actually say things that are different and not, yo dog, guess what I did last night? Did you press G? Oh, dude, you know it. Dude, I pressed G so hard last night. I did. I mean, I'm not even trying to be dirty here. I'm just letting y'all know, like, hey, when me and the boys get together and we press E, actually, no, this is starting to get a little, dirty if I keep going. But yeah, if you get together with your boys and y'all are pressing E, you know, E, and A, you know, A, don't be pressing E too hard, alright? You boys in there, y'all make sure y'all bevel appropriately. Don't be experimenting with bad geometry. It'll get you hooked and teach you a lifetime of bad problems. Just kidding. So we are just terminating, and we are making progress, guys. You know, usually when I saved a file, that means it's meaningful. It means I'll hate losing it. So I exited just to slide that over. And I want to slide this one, but that one is more important. So we'll just leave it for now. And something like so. And when it comes to the meshes, I plan to solve, like demonstrate solving. There are so many. Like, I'm looking at this as like if CG is going to be automated and all of human effort is going to just be trivialized, then there are some human efforts I still have in me that I would like to pursue. And also, AI is taking too long to destroy us. If you're going to kill me, you know, kill me now. Do it now. You know, don't leave me thinking, oh, you're going to come and get me any day. Any day. It reminds me of being left at daycare. If you're going to kill me, do it now. But I don't think that's even the case. I think AI is reaching its maximum potential. You know, if I was an AI bro, I would literally be saying the opposite. I'd be saying, no, dog, AI is just going to only get better and better and better. But I think that, you know, the resistance that they are creating with their, you know, data concerns will, in the end, limit their potential with it. But by that time, they will get very far with what they're doing. I'll say that much at least. Not gonna be a denier, just saying, oh yeah, no, AI is dead. It'll never get anywhere. But I think the the data origin issues are going to become a obstacle towards like future plans, because it took me a moment to even bring myself back to the internet when I found out that like everything I've ever done or ever will do is just being scraped into a Borg to be given to someone trivially who may not even ask for it. Like if they just prompt a AI with the right magic command, AI will give them me. And you know, at first that thought haunted me very hard, but I've had a lot of time to think on it, and now I see that I can live with that. I can live with that. I can also live with that if the computers are stupid, the companies are stupid, everybody involved is stupid. Like human screw ups is what saves me all the time. Like sometimes I'll lose like my self-esteem and belief in myself, and then I'll see humans, sorry to say it, I'll see humans fucking up, dog. And that part just is my job security. Like we have a whole section of the Discord dedicated to basically the melting of society and the screw ups of humanity, and it is my favorite place. I spend all day there because the mistakes of man is like is what we're all about. Not making those mistakes, but our tools are to solve problems made by the mistakes of man. Sorry, I'm over here phrasing things wrong. And it's not even the mistakes of man, it's just I always feel that things can go further. In fact, that's one of the criticisms I often get. I'm like, hey, why are there these bugs? They're like, dude, you asked for all these changes. I'm like, yeah, I needed all these changes because this thing isn't fully there yet commercially. We're making a commercial offering. We must at least meet the V1 requirements in my mind. And that's hard to say because I try to hold this tool to the standards of HardOps version 1, which was very simple. But I need more than that. I mean, because we've already made HardOps version 1. If we offer it again, then people just won't get it. They won't be as lenient. They'll be holding it to the standards of Boxcutter version 500, because that version has been held to a fire, and as a result is fire. Not even bragging, just saying that, you know, I do pride myself on trying to hold things accountable on our side. Like when tools fail, there are people who are responsible for these things that, you know, receive correspondence about these particular issues, and that is a comfort to me because accountability is like the biggest thing when it comes to commercial endeavors. You know, you want someone to be there to apologize when things go wrong, and I'm there to apologize. I'm being held accountable on the public side. Everyone yells at me, and I can live with that. I can live with that. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I hate being yelled at so bad. Like I hate feeling like a failure so bad. Like telling you, working with you guys has shown me that I have mental problems. Like I always thought I did, but now I know I do. Like I know I got mental problems, and you know, you might be thinking, oh man, that's bad, but you know, hey, you got mental problems too, buddy. We all got mental problems. If you're watching this video, if you've made it through 57 minutes of this video, if you've watched all the videos I've put out, yo bro, hey, you're more mental than me. You know, the only person I watch like that is like Down the Rabbit Hole, or Internet Anarchist, or Mudahar, or Boogie2988. I'm just making a joke there, but Boogie2988 is always in my thoughts because he represents kind of the worst scenario of what we could be if we just allowed ourselves to be useless. Because I look at him and I'm like, dude, I wish this guy knew what Blender was. You know, as he's getting manipulated and used by Keemstar for being a lolcow. I just think, wow, I wish these people knew what Blender was. Like, I would be pitching Blender to people that you probably would not want to see using Blender. You know, I'd be pitching it to like Cyrax and Daniel Larson. You know, I'd be pitching it to people who often joke about not wanting to live anymore. And really, my opinion is, hey, if you're thinking about not living, Hey, give Blender a try. Give Blender a try. Not saying it'll keep you alive, but it'll keep you busy, and that might keep you alive. Like me personally, I gotta know what the next version of Blender holds. I gotta know what the next version of our tools holds. I gotta be able to see if lithium ion batteries ever get improved. And for these reasons, these are my reasons for remaining part of humanity. You know, I definitely want to see if we get the batteries that you see in Star Trek. You know, they have their tablets and their phasers and all their devices. They just set it down. They don't even turn it off. In my life, if you set down an iPad of mine and you don't turn off the screen, believe me, I'm about to say something. Like, I'm about to say something about that. Like, probably, just what the hell, you know, that's it. And we're just taking a look at what we're giving this. And for this area, we want to quarantine it first. And then from there, we'll get even more detail. But first, I see that we need to protect a few areas just to make sure. And look at, this is what's left. We have this area. How do we solve that? How do we solve this one underneath? Why do we have two loops there? Just double checking. We'll give a loop here and here. And now we'll just press I to inset, which will allow us to grab this and dissolve it. We just don't need it. And we'll just grab all the way to here and press on the nsolve icon to jump into nsolve, and let us just push this over to the other side. We'll press W to make it even. We could also solve this like this. Ooh. We almost solved it. And by almost, I mean one more level of weirdness, and voila. That's all we were trying to do. So something like this. And so how do we want to solve this? I'm going to just grab from here to here, and we'll switch over to nsolve. And we could always be using a helper to do it. I'm just so forgetful. Part of these tools is me building my own muscle memory and training myself, because I'm so quick to default back to what I'm already used to. And this is something I saw a lot in the comments where people were like, well, this seems very Blender oriented. I don't know about that, but they also came back and said that they saw the point, which stopped me from having to reply or explain it. But really, the goal is to ensure that we can allow any option that the user needs, and we can allow you a fallback in the event that anything ever fails, because failure is the option we're trying to fight. We want to offer as many options as possible, but really we want to avoid any sort of technical issues happening. And so as a result, you can go as low level as you need to. Like if you need to just use a literal Blender operator, go ahead and do that. And now we are just completing this final area, or not final area. I need to stop saying that. I sound like an amateur. And we could also be co-opting this into nflow, but instead we're just having a little fun. Something like that will do. Let's try it again. Something like that. I was about to send a loop from the top, but let's go up here and just double check that we're not creating something that is unmanageable. Something like that, and then we want to get rid of that and just merge that over to the side ourselves. That way we can get a much more desirable result. So now we see that we only have just a little bit left on this piece. So I mean, parting is always sweet sorrow. I mean, I'll miss you guys no matter what. I'll always miss you guys. I always do when I go. So we'll put a loop there. We'll also place a loop this way, but before that we have to press W in order to right click and choose subdivide. Right click was such a weird thing when Blender added it, I mean as a option the way it is, and now I find myself missing it. You know, look at me having to exit to go right click. How meta. Alright, so just this final area. How do we want to get in and solve this little bit of a mess? Alright, I'm back after taking a short break to go have breakfast. And we'll call this one Solver V1. And we'll call preset 2. We'll call it preset 2. We'll call it preset 2. That's how unimaginative I am. We'll press W just so we can go in edge mode, select all of the edges we need. We could also do this inside of nflow. It's just sometimes easier to exit because the goal of nflow is to use it for micro moments, but my goal is of course to extend these moments longer than they're supposed to be. Let's press D. We'll jump over to nsolve where I can basically right click with control on both sides to select. Well, on the first side it worked out. On the second side we're going to need to go back and discuss that. So let's select this. We'll jump back over and we are just pulling out, and I see that there is a bit that we need to do here. And the moment I finish this recording, there are some bug resolutions I'll be needing to test, which sounds bad and like it's not fun, but believe me, when it comes to bugs that I report, nothing makes me happier than seeing them gone. And so I'm very excited for it. We will press W. We're going to right click and press M, merge it last, just to clean that up a little bit. This is what we're looking at, but on this side we are still solving it to the finale. So the other side also did not work out so good. And that's just one of the things that happens whenever you try to do an operation without actually looking at the operation that you're doing, without inspecting everything that's happening. We'll just slide this edge. We'll just dissolve this edge. Dissolve, dissolve, dissolve. When things don't go right, I hit it with the hammer. That's my plan B. Plan B for me is a hammer. As long as plan A isn't a hammer. For this one, we'll press W. We will right click. And every time I exit with W, I'm just thinking about how W could be a faster nsolve toggle, but really we probably do want to end up in the destination we're going. In fact, I'm kind of glad that this happened for you, the viewer, not for me. This actually sucks. But it does show you, the user, you know, the type of issues that can be run into, and also how easy it can be to just get in and resolve them. We'll grab this, bring this down, and we will jump right back in. Like so. And let's do that again. We want our cuts to connect like such, which means we can get rid of that. And even though it was getting a little, you know, in fact, I'm listening to songs that are pertaining to my friends, and it reminds me that I need to call some of them back on the telephone. I mean, not making an excuse to leave, just reminding you guys that I'm not a good friend. You know, I don't contact people right. I don't contact people enough. I'm often caught up in my own life and own nonsense. Not saying it's more important, but to me, it certainly is. In fact, I don't want any of these markings anymore. And I'm just going to get rid of them in the easiest way. We'll go under attributes, and we're just going to get rid of everything. Wait, seams aren't kept there? Interesting. I didn't know this. I'm just learning all sorts of things today. Things I maybe don't even need to know. We'll go ahead and dissolve this because we are going to attempt it once more. So I want this edge to actually be aligned with this area. So let us turn on vertex, and now while we're inserting a vert, we should be able to snap it there, but we're still not able to. Let's try the next level of snapping. So inside of Solver, we don't have vertex slide able to utilize our secondary snapping, but if we were, well, actually we're using loop cut. Loop cut is incompatible with snapping. All right, interesting. You know, every small nuance you see me talk about is a nuance that will not be a nuance in the future. These are just oversights, a million oversights, and I'm grateful for every user who points out one. You know, they're like, hey, you forgot this small thing, you forgot this small thing. And some issues, you know, the best issues are the ones that aren't forgotten. They're just, I forgot to mention them. You know, that's the position I want to be in. We'll press D, jump over, and just get a quick selection. In fact, I'm going to select this loop, and we're just going to click on loop selection, and let's just adjust what our number is, and we're just seeing how much flexibility we have here. And it looks like we actually have a case here that is not opportune for our particular selection. So it just means that there's something that we'll need to have a study on this in the future to ensure that our selection is selecting very hard, because I'm seeing a case in which selection over here slurring. I'm apologizing. I'm telling you, I'm falling apart, you guys. I'm just falling apart. But I won't let this situation transition me into morbidity. We're going to keep focused. We're going to keep positive. We're going to positively solve this mesh so I can get the heck out of this video. Let's right click and see what we're leaving behind. We'll bring this loop around to the other side. And something like this will certainly do. I'm just getting caught up in the orange. You know, orange was such an interesting choice. I'm just thinking about what an orange config would actually be. So let's undo all of that because I want to try a simpler solution. Maybe something like that, because what's going on with these loops actually does not matter, as long as they're not getting wayward on a convergence area. So we'll exit out, grab these, dissolve them, and just dissolve the areas that we no longer need, and just wonder how this happened. How did this loop get involved? What is the difference between this side and this side? You know, and as I say that, I am still confused as to what that answer is. And I see it now. Alright, so we want to grab this area and just unexist it. And let's try it again. I know we're not asking for a loop to be added down the middle of this thing. I am actually confused as to what is the difference between these two areas? I think it's this area that should not exist. And it looks like I was correct. Like every now and then, I am capable of being outsmarted by my own mesh. So we'll place one more loop in order to just ensure that everything flows like it's supposed to around the side. And I kind of want to be able to grab a side and then zoom in and zoom out and make the connection great distances, which is definitely not what this thing's made for. But like I said, my testing will bring us the next update, and it will be a very small but very serious update. You know, I look forward to that. Like the moment we released the tool, I was like, man, I cannot wait to get the customer data and basically process the first update, because that's how updates happen. You know, customers give us the data, and that data becomes what is you know, the docket. And I try to hit as many items on the docket as possible, as long as they're coming from the right sources. Like it's difficult to please customers and non-customers and non-users and people of other software disciplines and everything all at the same time. So, you know, it has to kind of be filtered. I'm thinking of offering a item called the golden ticket, which will basically allow people to force themselves into the situation if they want to. But do we want to open such a door? You know, is the question we have to ask, because everything's always a monkey paw. It's a term. It's probably the biggest term I used over the course of this project. I just asked all the time. I was like, did I just monkey paw myself? Which means, did I ask myself for a request that actually goes against another request that actually makes no sense to my brain, and that, you know, when I analyze it later, I'm gonna find that decision to be disastrous. I'm always wary of them, because monkey paws are terrible. For one, they are hard to reverse. You know, also they are frustrating to all parties involved. You know, you look like an idiot admitting you're wrong, but it's important that you admit that you're wrong in order to move forward. So it's like a very interesting situation when it comes to me. So you know, first things first, I try to always admit, A, I was wrong. I made a mistake. Please fix this. This is terrible. We've unlocked hell. And every now and then we do that. Like there was one time that we tried a few changes in box cutter that just didn't go over well with the public. For example, we once had Alt W switching between Hops tool and box cutter itself. I mean, the initial version didn't have a toggle to turn it off, and so as a result, we got very angry comments about that just being not a good decision. And I always looked at that as me monkey paw myself, because I should have thought about the flexibility of the users and the variability, because, you know, every good idea is always met by a user who will say, I hate that idea, I hate you, I hate what you just tried, I hate all of this. And so we always have to be prepared for that with a toggle to opt out of whatever systems are considered to be basically experimental. We will place a loop here so we are able to connect to the other side. For now, we'll have to make that connection using knife. But knife is everything. As you see, knife is just beautiful. Like every time I go to knife, I feel like I am slightly cheating, just because I know that once the knife's involved, it's a different game. It's a game I love called Tetris. And we're just kind of looking at what our decisions are making here. We probably do want to GG slide, press E to slide one way and another. We'll slide this one also the same. And we'll also need to go back into nflow just to do a little bit of sliding. We'll exit out just to make selection easier. And right back in. So I call that flowing out and flowing back in. Just exit, re-enter for a micro moment. And all of these are, to me, everything is a micro moment. It just was, this is a 1 hour, 18-minute micro moment. I thank everyone for watching. But this game is almost over. This cruel game, You know, not to quote the band Him. But yeah, this cruel game. And we could solve this in one stroke instead of 3 if we wanted to. But why bother? We just won. We completed the game. And even though this is not the finest sub-D conversion, we can certainly turn it all quad. Like if we wanted to, we could always turn anything all quad at any time. And that's what you want. You want to live with the power and not even have to use it. In fact, let's use hard op scanner to, there we go. We actually found another area. Maybe something like this. And this is going to create some areas for us to clean up on the way out. But really, we weren't on the way out. We just thought we were. So let's go ahead and get this absolutely correct. And that is what we're looking at there. So truly a disaster. I mean, some of these areas I am going to have to refine just because my solutions were kind of loose. Like, for example, this. You know, if I show off the asset, someone will look at this and say, huh, MX seems to be a bit of a hack. So we got to give it a proper result. In fact, I will press D, jump over to InSuite, and let's pull grid. And maybe that much grid, you know. And when it comes to the grid of nflow, it is nothing. I mean, the grid of nsolve, it is nothing compared to the grid of hard ops or even box cutter. Both of their grids have gone through trials. They've gone through trials, and you know, as a result, they came out stronger on the other side. So everything on this tool, very new, and is yet to go through its crucibles. So I do look forward to giving it to them. And when this tool comes out the other side, it will be a Space Marine. Alright, and we're just, how do we get rid of those two triangles? You know, I hate to stump myself at the very end, staring at geometry, but let's try it once more. We'll get rid of that edge. And we'll get rid of that flow, just to ensure that everything goes like such. And I still feel like we're about to default back to the previous solution where I just went with nearest quad everything and then checked it out and saw, hey, there's 2 tries next to each other, which means 2 tries need to meet, and thus the solution. So we look at it and we have 1 try left. And what if we did want to get rid of that 1 try? Like, what if my client was that of such that he's like, hey, I need that 1 try gone. Not a DC reference there. And now we got rid of that because, you know, whenever it comes to resolving a single try, the quickest answer is always just give it a loop. Just give it a loop to talk to, roommate, and you're good to go. But now I'm just making a few slight adjustments with the subdivision form of this just to ensure that there's a nice polygonal distribution. You know, we could also here do project line, so I'm just holding Alt, and then I'll hold Alt in order to cut through, because we can't trigger it to be auto cut through on Alt. I'll have to have that modified to accommodate a decision that goes against another decision. You know, I made the decision to make it Alt, and now I'm making the decision to make it work on Alt even though it's mapped to Alt. A complicated decision that will frustrate whatever coder I tell that to. They'll be like, wait, what? You're asking for something against... Dude, first of all, you have what you're asking for. You're asking for it again? Like, yeah, my bad. It comes with the territory of testing immensely. But now we look at this via Analyze, and we see that we are looking good. You know, an hour 23, but we were just having fun here. You know, nothing serious. We were just kind of getting in here, just experimenting with what it would be like to solve STLR's, I believe we'd call this a stock. But with that, we now are looking at the final-ish result. So what I'll do is place the cursor right here, and we'll use a little bit of hard ops just to do a rotation. Alright, and we're just zooming in, just getting that right view. You know, we don't even need all of these objects. You know, what camera is that? Is this a real camera? Okay, that's my camera, okay. And just like that, we are now at the end of this very terrible part. I mean, it's a beautiful part. The work required in changing it is terrible. And it's because when you're Boolean modeling, you're not necessarily thinking about these sort of things that I'm talking about now. You're just having fun. And of course, we want you to have fun with modeling. But also, you really can't be sending trashy meshes to the client. And if you do not mention my name. Do not tell them I told you to do it. Don't tell them my tool did that. Don't tell them none of that. If you are sending these meshes to clients that are looking terrible, that is you. You need to own all of that. Don't put that on me. Don't say I told you to do that, because I've never, ever said to send clients trashy meshes. So with that, let us get in and clean up these meshes and make them beautiful. Because in this world, opportunities fading away, and people are like, what do I do? What do I do with my life? What is the purpose of working now? What's the purpose of 3D? How do I make a living in 3D? And these questions I want to answer over the course of this tool. Like, I want to create a tool for the worker that makes it great to work, that will make people addicted to working. And I know that's so stupid to say and ridiculous, and you're like, dude, what the heck is MX talking about? Just know that nsolve is our first professional tool, like the premium selection variety, meaning that we can be cloned 100 ways to Sunday. I don't care. I don't care, because they will never get to the core of what I'm going for. No one ever tried, and no one ever will. And as a result, I have 100% confidence in what we're going for here. Like right now, we are doing the work, but there is so much more to working, isn't there? Like I want the physical state to be accentuated, but I want to also accentuate the mental state. I want you to want to have the morale to continue working and to work hard. And you know, you don't have to thank the tool or give the tool any credit for making you work hard, but I'm definitely trying to make a tool that will make people work hard. So I know I've been ranting for a couple of minutes. I mean, this is the end of the video. I'm allowed to do a victory lap where I just talk and rant and say, hey, after this, guys, I have to cut up 30 box cutter videos to add to the box cutter playlist. In case you don't know, I am recording and adding content to playlists every day. But if the video is too long, I'm just not even going to put it up on YouTube public anymore, because too many complaints. Like, I don't want to deal with any complaints. My goal is to transition to something called shorts, but the longer content is always going to be my love. I love doing longer content. In fact, my goal is to work up to doing the world's longest tutorial. I mean, you don't have to watch it. It'll be a time lapse for you. But for me, I want to get in here and work for 30 hours straight to show my dedication to what I'm talking about. So I'm getting all these messages of people being like, hey, discount, discount, discount. I'm not even going to respond to that. No response. I have no response. This tool has cost me more than you will ever understand. There is no discount. This thing is still costing me even now, as I hold my aching arms and hold my aching hands, squeezing my aching eyes, rubbing my aching shoulders. Please, let us all be professionals and get it together. But this is just in video smack talking. Just because I'm looking at comments and processing comments at the same time. You know, I'm always getting vibrations and beeps on the anxiety watch, is what I call my Apple Watch. And that just lets me know kind of what the pulse is going on in the community. Sometimes it's for the best to always get messages of the pulse of what's going on. But if that pulse is cardiac arrest or something not nice, then the result isn't exactly the intended result. The anxiety it gives me is actually the kind of anxiety it makes me run away from 3D. And that's not my goal. My goal is never to leave 3D. In fact, I say run from 3D, but really what I mean is run from being public, because my goal is always to do content and to focus. I mean, people ask where I was. Dude, I've done so many videos. Like, I've done videos the entire time I've been away. I just haven't been making them public because they're private tutorial sessions where I'm like going one-on-one with people to like teach them the fundamentals. And you know, I have this thing where people will sign up to be taught hard ops, and then when I meet them, they're like, oh yeah, actually I don't know a damn thing. I'm like, a damn thing? You don't know a damn thing? And you got with me and you don't know a damn thing? And then these people will get with me, they don't do homework, and it just makes it even worse. Like, dude, you got with me to have me model for you every week, and then you're not even doing your homework, and you're paying me to only model for you every week. Please pay. You know, if you're paying, I have no problem with that. We call that a circle jerk. But I'm going to just exit this video now instead of getting more vulgar with my speech, because that's never my goal. My goal is to always be cordial and proper. But you know, that's obviously hard in the world of tools and in the world of add-ons, and especially in the world of Blender. So with that, I will pause and end this video for now, and I'll see you guys with the next painful stellar part next time.
Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apology for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. Push your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. Push your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. From dusk until the dawn, thank you for the views. In these tough times you stand tall. With your support we rise and break down every wall. So here's to you, my friends. In these challenging times we thrive. With every view, with every like, together we'll survive. From morning light to evening's fall, we'll push through every strife. Thanks for your support, you give me strength and drive. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. Push your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. you for the views in these tough times. You stand tall with your support. We rise and break down every wall. Action on the fun. Oh, this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the late. I'll record from dawn till dusk. But your views and your support, they keep me going. That's a must. Here's to you, my friends. In these challenging times we thrive. With every view, with every like, together we'll survive. From morning light to evening's fall, we'll push through every strife. Thanks for your support, you give me strength and drive. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the late, I'll record from dawn till dusk. But your views and your support, they keep me going. That's a must.
I hit my buddy's STLR for a gun pop for nsolve. He handed me the curse of all time, a problem to solve. 31 holes instead of 32. Who does that kind of crime? Odd numbered circles, yeah, it's gonna take some time. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. But your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. Morning till evening, the record's rolling on. Every flaw, every fix, from dusk until the dawn. Thank you for the views, in these tough times you stand tall. With your support we rise, and break down every wall. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. But your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. So here's to you, my friends. In these challenging times we thrive. With every view, with every like, together we'll survive. From morning light to evening's fall, we'll push through every strife. Thanks for your support, you give me strength and drive. Educational and fun, oh this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length, recorded from dawn till dusk. But your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must.
I hit up a place out for some proper and soul. You handed me the curse of all time, a problem to solve. 31 holes instead of 32, who does that kind of crime? Odd number circles, yeah, it's gonna take some time. Educational and fun, oh, this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length recorded from dawn till dusk, but your reviews and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. Morning till evening, the record's rolling on. Every flaw, every fix, from dusk until the dawn. Thank you for the views. In these tough times you stand tall. With your support we rise and break down every wall. Educate, roll and fun, or this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length recorded from dawn till dusk, but your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. Morning till evening, the record's rolling on. Every flaw, every fix, from dusk until the dawn. Thank you for the views. In these tough times you stand tall. With your support we rise and break down every wall. Educate, roll and fun, or this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length recorded from dawn till dusk, but your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must. So here's to you, my friends, in these challenging times we thrive. With every view, with every like, together we'll survive. From morning light to evening's fall, we'll push through every strife. Thanks for your support, you give me strength and drive. Educate, roll and fun, or this gun's a twisted thrill. Now I'll torture you all with this cursed creation skill. Apologies for the length recorded from dawn till dusk, but your views and your support, they keep me going, that's a must.